have Patrick Connors. Patrick's first chapbook, Scarborough Songs, was released with Lyrical Miracle Press in 2013 and charted on the Toronto Poetry Map. Other publication credits include the Toronto Quarterly, Spadina Literary Review, Sharing Spaces, Tamaracks, and Tending the Fire. His first full collection, The Other Life, was released in 2021 by Mosaic Press. His new chapbook, Worth the Wait, was released this spring by CATUS Press. Let's welcome Patrick to the stage!
Go off, poet! Yahoo, Pat!
Thanks, Joe. Thank you very much, Robin. Thank you all for being here on this warm, steamy Monday evening. We will be celebrating Worth the Wait. I'm going to read most of the poems in here. I'm going to explain to you why I'm not reading all of them when I get to the one that I'm not going to read. But I actually was going to do this with Lyrical Miracle Press again, but that's when I found out my dear friend Luciano Iacobelli was going to die. We went out to dinner at Cafe Diplomatico, as we have done so many times, late last spring, in the spring of last year. And I said, so the book's ready to go. And that's when I found out that it was going to happen. I mean, he'd been sick for a long time. So I dedicate this book to Luciano Iacobelli, who gave me my start. I usually am a very positive poet, as those of you who know me know, but these last few years have been difficult, so feel free to hug each other and cry and whatever. There's a lot of really happy poems. Another very important person in my life passed away during the pandemic. Well, a few people did, but Mick Burrs was my mentor. And can you hear me now? I didn't feel like I was hearing myself. The epigraph for my poem Becoming is his poem Heart. I'm going to start off by reading his poem Heart. It is always becoming a poem, this furnace, this fire, in a corner of the body's dark. This is the place that burns whatever has been broken. And that's Heart by the late great Mick Burrs. The world says we are the residue, the result of the residue it leaves upon us. Don't let this be. Burn this dross from me. No matter the pain it brings, I will not be like everyone else. Mold me in your image. Form me in the refiner's crucible, that my thoughts, my work, and my poetry may bring you glory. Let all the indescribable pain endured while becoming understandable bring clarity to my vision and integrity to my life. Then my words would blaze a trail across the midnight sky and be a likeness of the light which will forever shut out darkness. Thank you. Now this is dark and sexy, so maybe you'll dig it. Prisoner. I have lost my voice. The only word I have ever felt beating in my heart, echoing through my mind, has been taken from me. The other prisoners hiss and whisper the words the broken-hearted cannot say out loud and leave me in solitary silence. But I know why. They don't understand this burden I am bound to carry and must keep hidden deep inside. This burden keeps me alive. It gives me passion and purpose and is the only thing I have which is real. If this word trapped in my throat found daylight at the tip of my tongue, I would sing and shout, laugh and cry, and my sentence would be complete. If I could see her again, make love to her slowly and gently, if I could say her name once more, then I would be free. Thank you. About the only live poet, there's two live poets that I dedicate poems to in this book. One of them is our great friend Dane Swan, who's in New Brunswick doing something for a memorial for his mother, so he can't be here tonight. I dedicated this to him. It's called Toil. Blinded by beams of mind-numbing light, from a soulless fluorescent sun, you begin another nameless day. The ear crackles bolts of static, buzzes and hums its din monotone, which makes hearing hard and hearts harder. Surrounded by a sea of hope gone cold, you hold your breath and jump feet first, not knowing when you will hit ground. You are a digger. You trace a line with common courtesy around basic humanity and then cut into it. You dig, try to get below the surface. The terrain is bare and unyielding, so you dig and you dig some more. You are not sure what you will find, how to recognize the results of your work, if they are real or have any value to anyone. I apologize, I haven't mastered these poems yet because I'm still reading The Other Life when I do readings most of the time, because that only came out like 2 years ago. Darkness. I am a child of the light who has known the deepest darkness. Yes, I am tempted and tortured by the very same pain as you, except in a different way. It comes into my house, my heart, but only after I accept it. I foolishly think I can change darkness into light. And when I let it in, it burrows into my soul, my sacred fire, my deepest creativity, my passion, my reason, and my reason for living. No matter how I try, I cannot change the darkness. It consumes me when I give in to doubt. The darkness tells me everything I believe in is a lie. The darkness tells me there is no love, only hatred. That everyone I know wants to hurt me, and that I should hurt them first. I get drunk from time to time, and swear like a sailor, even when sober, and eat salt and vinegar potato chips, and love my local sports teams a little too much. But I will never give in to the darkness. Thank you. This is going to become really apparent in a few minutes when I read a bunch of COVID poems. This started when I was laid off for 10 weeks at the start of the pandemic. I've never been laid off in my life, so it was pretty weird. And but it taught me about waiting. And what this book is about waiting. It's about holy waiting. This is an Advent poem, but it fits into anything special that you're waiting for. Violet. One candle flickers in the cold dark, waits for the light of the second candle. This is the season of preparation. These are the middle times between the promise and its fulfillment. I will not get there by having, by doing, or by getting, only by rest and reflection. I know I have been saved from myself. I know there is hope for the future, but I don't know what I have right now. Thank you. I'm going to dedicate this poem to the person that the next poem is actually about. A great First Nations person named Opuck, who was very important with our poetry events that we run in the city. He would lend legitimacy to it. I mean, we don't need a middle-aged white guy giving a land acknowledgement, you know. He would come up here and he would do something like that, or he would do a poem or a blessing or whatever. And this is a poem about wisdom and about seeking wisdom. It's called Micah. I see Micah at first light, by the road where I must go. Rocking on his broad oak chair, he nods and bids me good day. I shake my head as I pass, wonder why he isn't still in his bed if he doesn't have to face the morning the way every honest man should. I struggle with my labors to conform to my surroundings, so I might earn or be made worthy of a pleasant journey through this life. I meet Micah sitting on his porch as I take the winding road home. I ask if he might like to spare a glass of wine to ease my pain. He laughs, he cries, "Please be here tomorrow about the same time, and I will share something much sweeter." I guess whatever he has for me will keep until the chosen time. I am left with a sense of possibility, something to ponder until I get there. When I return around the bend to keep our appointment, I expect he has forgotten, but he is standing in front of his chair and bids me welcome. He hands me a cup of cold water, which settles into me quite well. I know what you are looking for, he says, and it is all I have to offer. You see me sit here each day, and I see you shake your head. You see me staring at the sky and question what I live for. Hope, unshakable, unbreakable hope. Not wishful thinking or an easier path, not riches nor the respect of your fellow man, but the reason, the purpose to see it through. Bless you. My back is not strong enough for heavy labor. My stomach isn't strong enough for commerce. So there is little for me to do in this world except wait for a better one to appear. I have neither position nor possessions, nothing to mark or make my remembrance. So I will hold on as long as it takes for something greater to come over the horizon. Okay, I'm going to skip 2 poems. I'm not going to read the OPUC poem because I'm going to get emotional. I am going to drop a few COVID poems on you, so you could just tune me out as white noise if it's not working for you, I understand. It's just what we were all going through at the time. Moments in time. I am in lockdown, separated from society, trapped by a worldwide crisis with an unknown outcome. Eating and cleaning slowly lead to the gray peak of the afternoon when I am made dull and sullen by anxiety and despair. I go out to the yard to see if fresh air and movement will provide a sense of release from uncertainty and boredom. As I walk my solitary circle, I pass this moment in time with nothing else to do other than get through it. I go back inside and take a nap, balance my checkbook, read a poem, watch a rerun of MASH for the 400th time, and figure out how to pass the evening. A late April rain washes out the muddy tracks I left on the lawn, the one and only hour of sunlight, and the hope for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you. I'm going to skip the next COVID poem because it's appropriate as a mental health poem, but I feel like I'm already bringing down the crowd enough, so.
Oh, just wait till I go up, baby.
That's okay. You're the feature, so it's all good. You're allowed. Aphorisms of the Coronapocalypse, things that I know. 2020, the year of COVID-19. That's how this will be remembered. In 20 years or 100 after the next plague or disaster strikes, in history books and documentaries and Google searches and think tanks, they will have the numbers of those who fell ill, bar graphs to tell how many of us died. I will not be a statistic. I will not be recalled as an item of data. I have many things I need to accomplish, some of them important, I assure you. But right now, they are all on hold while I choose to stay inside. When this siege ends, I know I will emerge with a greater vision. I will be stronger and more capable because waiting is not a passive exercise. I will be clearer about my priorities. I will live my life with more integrity. I know we are fighting other plagues which undermine the best we can be. I pray there will be legal justice for the hate crimes being committed. I know I will strive for social justice, especially when they say it's impossible. I know there are some who do not wish the world as I see it to be fulfilled. I know I will change the minds of 1 or 2 if I continue to try. I know that if we serve one another, we will serve the higher purpose. I know we can beat the bastards who want to divide and break us. I know we can rewrite history if only we have the courage. I know that biblical level pestilence made me finally write this poem. I believe we can be better when this ends. I know I will be glad when it ends. Thank you. I'm not reading this poem because another thing middle-aged white men should do is not do is read Black Lives Matter poems. But the reason I wrote this poem is because Mark Saunders, who is our former chief of police and carded people right, left, and center, and he's black if you don't know, and then he ran for office and he still said he was not going to stop the practice of carding. So anyways, the reason why I wrote this is for this line. Because when he was taking a knee, when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, he's taking a knee with people. Let anybody who takes a knee with someone they never stood beside be ready to confess their sins. That's the only part of that poem that's relevant for me. So now, this is going to probably be the title piece of my next full collection, so sneak preview.
Ooh.
The long defeat that brings us what we know. He loves the beach. He walks barefoot along the shoreline, as close to the water without getting wet, while as far away from people as possible. Like every man, he experiences loss, failure, isolation, accusations, numerous as the grains of sand between his burning toes. The beach is where he finds peace. It is his favorite place to pray to the one who formed this beauty as a gift to all who would receive it. He prays for the world which once again suffers so much. He prays it will not be swept away by rising tides of hatred. He prays for his family, he prays for his friends, he prays for his enemies, he prays to be able to tell the difference. He rests at the end of a concrete pier. I have not been overcome, he proclaims to the setting sun, and that will have to do for now. How many more minutes do I have, Robin?
You have about 5 to 10.
I won't take all 10. Spiritual warfare, growth and change. On the journey we all go on, but not together. The inner battle defines the outer man. We cannot avoid the truth. Whatever God or notion of the divine one holds is holy. Each seeks the sacred, absolute oneness with the absolute, the best that we can be, and that which is beyond the best that we can comprehend. What holds me back is real, and yet is not real, and yet far more real than reality. The it which strikes the itch I cannot help but scratch leaves me bitter, bloody, and raw. But better to be on the barbed wire path, to meet and struggle with anguish, than to live a living death. O Master, whom I always seek, in my hope and in despair, please rest and bless my spirit. So I wrote this poem not because I wanted to write a formalist poem, but because Neil Peart songs on Clockwork Orange were mostly pantoums. So, pantoum. The smoldering fire of his heart, stoked by hope born of a long wait, was yet truly the very start of uncovering such a trait. Stoked by hope born of a long wait, he learns the truth within the dream of uncovering such a trait. Beauty greater than what may seem. He learns the truth within the dream, the radiant light in his eyes. Beauty greater than what may seem, coaxing his desire to arise. The radiant light in his eyes was yet truly the very start, coaxing his desire to arise, the smoldering fire of his heart. And I'm going to skip the only one that you heard me read last week, so there you go. So you get all fresh poems from this book, because you heard me read the next poem in this book last Thursday. The Worth the Wait was already kind of bouncing around in my head, but this event that happened about this time last year really put it together. My father passed away at the very early stages of the pandemic of bone cancer in Newfoundland. And like Newfoundland was on total lockdown. There was no getting in, there was no getting out. You know, we had a very challenging relationship and it would have been difficult to get there anyways, but I would have found a way. But I didn't get to go there until last August. This is the day of my dad's memorial. Fog rolled over the Douglas fir-lined hills all the way to the St. John's Regatta. The regatta was a day late this year, due to wind and rain which never came and yet pushed back the civic holiday. Old Man by Neil Young played on the oldies station. I hope I'm not too much like my old man was. When my dad passed away, we hadn't had a real conversation in over 10 years or seen each other in 15. I walked with cousin David and Linda through the Anglican cemetery to reach the shores of Kitty Vitty Lake. They shook hands and embraced everyone they knew, and even those few they didn't. It was their first live race in 3 years. Perfect strangers nodded and smiled and said hello as they passed by. I let go of the Toronto in me to return the greeting. We passed by dozens of food trucks, and I was struck by 3 in a well-spaced U-shape called Ziggy Peelgood's famous fries. David said, "You have to try Ziggy's, and there will be a lineup at lunchtime. But anything worth having is worth the wait."
Yeah.
This was the first year that women rode full course races. Women have always been strong enough to carry us, but it's something. Our vantage point allowed us to see perhaps a quarter of the race, providing just enough opportunity to root for those falling behind. In my memories of St. John's in August, I usually wore a heavy sweater, but on this day my golf shirt was stuck to my skin. During a lull between races, the wind began to move like a blessing, and Linda said, "I think we might have a bit of rain." I prayed for rain. Rain to make the forest fire go out, rain to clean the foul sweat off me, rain to prepare for whatever comes next. At 4 o'clock, David turned left off Topsail Road into Holy Sepulchre Cemetery to visit my dad's ashes interred above the patriarchal plot. My dad was the youngest of 12. Some of my cousins joined to pay tribute, along with Linda, David, and me. There were Brian and Evangeline, Jerry and Geraldine, and I will always be grateful for their support. I read parts of 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and said amen, and after a moment of silence, we went and had a time. I got to Newfoundland too late to make peace with my dad, but I'm finally at peace with myself.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have copies for sale over there, and they are only $10.
Only $10?
Remember when we used to say only $5?
Only $5?
You know?
Can't afford
And they
that
come with a free gift with purchase that will make sure that it's completely unforgettable for you, because never forget that marketing is the most important thing in poetry. Here's the only one Joe's ever heard before, and this is what I'm going to leave off on. The Path, with a line or two borrowed from Frost. 2 roads diverged in the verdant woods. I have taken them both. By God's grace, He has allowed me to make many mistakes and have many foolish adventures, experiences pleasurable and pointless, but I survived them all, apparently. Just before I slid into the slimy bog made by my own crapulence, He pulled me out and put me on the path. Sometimes I still drift off to the side, distracted by memories of darkness. I embrace a sense of emptiness instead of experiencing fear and uncertainty. It seems comfortable being in despair, the state I once accepted as my destiny. When I can't see by the light through the trees all the end I hope and long for. Then I hear a soft voice from deep within, asking me to return, and I heed the call. The journey has become everything to me, and that has made all the difference. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rockstar. Thank you for your time.